Welcome back to Top Liberty Coins. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of quarter-dollar coins, focusing especially on the legendary 1967 quarter and the secrets of today's market. Let's begin with the story. The quarter-dollar coin has been part of American history for centuries. It represents not just money, but culture, art, and moments frozen in time. Every design, every mark, every tiny detail carries meaning. And among all these coins, some years stand out more than others. One of those years is 1967. Now picture the year 1967. The world was changing rapidly. Music, fashion, and technology were evolving. At the same time, the United States Mint was facing a serious coin shortage. Because of this, something very unusual happened. Coins produced during this time, including the 1967 quarter, were made without mint marks. That means you will not see a small letter indicating where the coin was made. This detail alone makes the 1967 quarter unique and mysterious. The design of the coin is classic and powerful. On the front, you see the image of George Washington, strong and calm, facing left. Above him, the word Liberty stands proudly. Below, the year 1967 marks its identity. On the back, the eagle spreads its wings, holding arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace together. This design connects deeply with history and national identity, but here is where things get really interesting. Not all 1967 quarters are equal. Most of them are common and worth only a small amount above face value. However, certain rare versions can be worth a fortune. And when we say fortune, we mean numbers that can shock you. Collectors around the world are constantly searching for special coins. They look for errors, unusual features, and perfect condition. A 1967 quarter in average condition might be worth a few rupees or maybe $1. But if you find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been used and still shines like new, its value increases significantly. Now imagine finding a rare error coin. These are coins that were minted with mistakes. Maybe the design is slightly off, maybe there is a doubling effect on the text, or maybe the metal composition is different. These small errors can turn an ordinary coin into a treasure. Some rare quarters have sold for thousands of dollars. And in extreme cases, collectors talk about coins reaching values close to hundreds of thousands or even more depending on rarity and demand. The current market for coins is very active. Prices change based on demand, rarity, and condition. Online auctions, collector communities, and coin dealers are constantly trading. A coin that seems worthless today could become highly valuable tomorrow. That is why knowledge is power in this field. Let's talk about grading. Coin grading is one of the most important factors in determining value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor condition to perfect mint state. A coin graded at the highest level can be worth hundreds of times more than the same coin in worn condition. Professional grading companies carefully examine coins under magnification, checking every detail, every scratch, every shine. Now think about the excitement of discovery. Imagine going through old coins at home, maybe in a drawer or a box, and suddenly finding a 1967 quarter. At first glance, it looks normal. But then you notice something unusual. Maybe the edges are sharper, maybe the shine is brighter, maybe there is a tiny error. That moment of realization is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. There are also silver transition stories connected to coins from this era. Before 1965, quarters were made of silver. After that, the composition changed to a copper-nickel blend. However, there have been rare cases where coins were accidentally struck on silver planchets. These are extremely rare and incredibly valuable. Finding one would be like hitting a jackpot. The market today is driven by collectors, investors, and enthusiasts. Some people collect coins for passion, others for profit. Rare coins are considered a form of investment, similar to gold or art. Their value can grow over time, especially if they are well preserved. Let's not forget the importance of preservation. If you ever find an old coin, never clean it harshly. Cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its value. Always store coins in protective holders, away from moisture and dirt. Proper care can make a huge difference in the long run. Another fascinating aspect is how stories travel with coins. A single quarter could have passed through hundreds of hands over decades. It might have been used in shops, carried in pockets, or saved in collections. Each coin has a hidden journey, a silent history waiting to be discovered. Now imagine the thrill of auctions. Collectors bidding against each other, prices rising with every second. A rare 1967 quarter appears on the screen. The bids start low but quickly climb higher and higher. Thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, sometimes even more. The final hammer falls, and the coin finds a new owner. Moments like these show the true power of rarity and demand. There is also a growing trend of digital platforms where collectors share knowledge, showcase finds, and discuss market trends. This has made coin collecting more accessible than ever before. Anyone with interest and patience can enter this world, and here is the truth. The value of a coin is not just in its metal. It is in its story, its rarity, its condition, and the passion of those who seek it. A small piece of metal can hold immense value if the right factors come together. So next time you see a quarter, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. Check the year. Examine the details. You never know what you might find. That simple coin could be a hidden treasure waiting to change your life. Welcome to the world of coins, where history meets mystery, and where even the smallest object can hold incredible value. Stay curious, keep searching, and who knows, your next discovery might be worth far more than you ever imagined. Today we're diving deep into one of the most misunderstood and often overlooked coins in American pocket change, the 1978 Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks like just another everyday coin. Something you might ignore, spend, or toss into a jar without a second thought. But what if I told you that some of these quarters could be worth far more than just 25 cents? What if the coin sitting quietly in your drawer has a story that connects to American history, rare minting errors, and a collector market that can push values into hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Let's start with the basics. The 1978 quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series, first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. By 1978, the coin had already been in circulation for decades, and its design had become one of the most recognizable in the United States. The front of the coin features a left-facing portrait of George Washington with the word Liberty above his head. Below the portrait is the year 1978, and the phrase "In God We Trust" appears beside him. On the reverse side, you'll see an eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace. Now here's where things get interesting. Not all 1978 quarters are the same. They were minted in different locations, and each mint left its own small mark on the coin. Coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, Denver coins carry a small D, and San Francisco coins, which are usually proof coins, have an S mint mark. These tiny letters can make a big difference in value. Most 1978 quarters in circulated condition are still worth just face value. But condition is everything in coin collecting. A coin that has been preserved in near-perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, can be worth significantly more. A 1978 quarter graded MS-65 or higher can fetch several dollars, and in some cases, tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on its quality and eye appeal. But the real excitement comes from rare errors and special varieties. Error coins are like accidents in the minting process, and collectors love them because no two are exactly alike. For example, a 1978 quarter with a double die error, where the design appears slightly duplicated, can be worth a substantial amount. Off-center strikes, where the coin design is misaligned, also increase value. Some coins were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal disc used was intended for a different coin. These are extremely rare and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Another important factor is proof coins from San Francisco. These coins were specially made for collectors using polished dies and planchets, resulting in a mirror-like finish. A 1978 S-proof quarter in perfect condition can be quite valuable, especially if it has a deep cameo contrast where the design appears frosted against a shiny background. Now let's talk about the idea of extremely high values like hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. While it's true that some coins in history have reached incredible prices, those are usually tied to extreme rarity, historical significance, or unique errors. A standard 1978 quarter is not likely to reach values like $787,976 unless it has an extraordinary and unique minting error or some one-of-a-kind feature that sets it apart from every other coin. However, that doesn't mean you should ignore your coins. Many valuable coins have been discovered in everyday circulation. People have found rare errors, high-grade specimens, and collectible varieties just by carefully examining their change. The key is knowing what to look for. Check the mint mark. Look for unusual details. Pay attention to the condition. Even small differences can mean big money in the world of coin collecting. The history behind the coin also adds to its appeal. The late 1970s were a time of economic change in the United States. Inflation was rising, and coin production was increasing to meet demand. The 1978 quarter is a piece of that era, a small metal snapshot of a larger economic story. Holding one in your hand is like holding a piece of history. Collectors are drawn not just to value, but to the story. Every coin has a journey. It may have passed through thousands of hands, traveled across cities, or sat untouched in a collection for decades. When you find a coin like the 1978 quarter, you're not just looking at metal. You're looking at history, craftsmanship, and the possibility of hidden value. So what should you do if you find a 1978 quarter? First, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can actually reduce its value significantly. Keep it in its original condition. Second, examine it carefully under good lighting. Look for mint marks, errors, and overall condition. If you think you've found something special, consider having it evaluated by a professional grading service. They can authenticate the coin and assign it a grade, which helps determine its market value. The coin market is always changing. Prices rise and fall based on demand, rarity, and collector interest. What might be worth a few dollars today could be worth much more in the future. That's why collectors stay informed, keep learning, and continue searching. At the end of the day, the 1978 quarter reminds us that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced collector, there's always something new to discover in the world of coins. So next time you get change, take a closer look. That simple quarter might just surprise you. And if you enjoy uncovering hidden treasures like this, stay tuned to Coins, because there's always more history, more mystery, and more value waiting to be revealed. Today we are diving deep into a coin that most people overlook, a coin that quietly sits in pockets, jars, and drawers across the world, yet carries a story, mystery, and potential value that might surprise you. We are talking about the 1984 P. Washington quarter, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but under the right conditions can become something truly extraordinary. Imagine holding a simple quarter. Just 25 cents, right? That's what most people think. But what if I told you that some of these quarters have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on their condition, rarity, and unique features? And yes, there are listings and claims floating around online showing extreme prices like $787,976.41, which may sound unbelievable, but they spark curiosity and lead us to a deeper truth about coin collecting. Value is not just about metal, it is about rarity, demand, condition, and history. Let's step back into 1984. The United States Mint in Philadelphia, marked with a small P mint mark, produced millions of Washington quarters that year. These coins feature the iconic portrait of George Washington on the front, designed by John Flanagan, with the word Liberty boldly written above his head. On the reverse, you see the majestic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing strength and peace. Now here is where things get interesting. Not all 1984 P quarters are created equal. Most are common and worth face value. But collectors are not looking for ordinary coins. They are searching for perfection and errors. Coins in mint state condition, meaning they have never been circulated and still shine with their original luster, can be worth significantly more. The higher the grade, the higher the value. In the world of coin grading, a coin graded MS65 or above begins to attract serious attention. But when you reach MS67 or higher, now you are entering a rare category. Very few coins survive in such pristine condition, especially from 1984 when quality control was not as advanced as today. These high-grade coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auctions. Another factor that can skyrocket the value is minting errors. Error coins are like mistakes that slip through the system, making them unique and highly desirable. For example, double die errors, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet can turn an ordinary quarter into a collector's dream. These rare errors can push values much higher than standard coins. Collectors also pay close attention to the strike quality. Some 1984 P quarters are known to have weak strikes, especially in the hair details of Washington or the eagle's feathers. A sharply struck coin with full details stands out and becomes more valuable. It's all about the small details that most people miss. Now let's talk about the market. The current market for coins is constantly changing. Prices depend on demand, rarity, and collector interest. Online platforms, auctions, and coin shows all influence the value. While you may see extremely high price tags online, not all of them reflect actual sale prices. Some are listings created to attract attention. However, verified auction records do show that high-grade 1984 P quarters have sold for impressive amounts. The idea of a quarter being worth hundreds of thousands of dollars may seem unrealistic, but it reminds us of an important lesson in coin collecting. Hidden value exists everywhere. That jar of coins sitting in your home could contain something special. It only takes one rare piece to change everything. Let's not forget the historical significance. The Washington Quarter Series began in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. By 1984, the design had already become a symbol of American identity. Holding this coin is like holding a small piece of history, a connection to the past that continues to circulate through time. So how do you know if your 1984 P quarter is valuable? Start by checking the condition. Look for coins that appear almost new, with no scratches or wear. Examine the details closely. Is the strike sharp? Are there any unusual features or errors? If you believe you have something special, consider getting it professionally graded. Certification can significantly increase its value and credibility in the market. Lighting also plays a role. Under proper light, a high-quality coin will show a beautiful shine known as luster. This is one of the key indicators collectors look for. A dull coin, even if uncirculated, may not attract as much attention. Another tip is to store your coins properly. Avoid touching them with bare hands, as oils can damage the surface. Use protective holders to preserve their condition. Remember, even a small scratch can reduce the value significantly. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises. What seems like a simple piece of change can turn into a valuable asset. The 1984 P quarter is a perfect example of this hidden potential. It teaches us to look closer, to pay attention, and to appreciate the small things that often go unnoticed, and that's what makes this hobby so exciting. Every coin has a story. Every detail matters. And every discovery brings a sense of thrill that is hard to describe. So next time you receive a quarter, don't just spend it without a second thought. Take a moment. Look at it carefully. You might be holding something far more valuable than you think. This is coins, where every piece has a story and every story could be worth a fortune. Stay curious, keep searching, and who knows, your next discovery might just change everything.